Jess Bracken. I'm a teacher here at Woodbridge, and most of you know me as your everyday teacher, but tonight's theme is what you thought you knew. So I just wanted to start with a little history of my past before I go into my topic tonight on resilience. So I want you to know that when I was 13, I took my first antidepressant medication. When I was 14, I was raped. When I was 15, I was uprooted from the only house I had ever known. When I was 16, I spent time in a group home. I also attempted suicide that year. When I was 17, I went in front of a judge by myself to have the label of mentally incompetent removed. Guys, we're here today to talk to you about resilience. What is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back. I would guess to say that a lot of my students in the audience tonight didn't know that about me, and that's the goal. I don't live with what happened in my past. I'm looking forward to the future. I want to tell you a story. I was 15 at the time and had just moved to a new town, and I wasn't doing so well. I wasn't adjusting very well. I wasn't making new friends. I was really mad at my parents. My parents are good people in their soul. They have an addiction. They're addicted to alcohol. And my stepdad is a touchy-feely drunk. And I mentioned this one day to a guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they called the authorities. The authorities gave my mom a choice. They could kick my stepdad out for one night while they did the investigation, or they could send me to a group home. I went to a group home. So I tell you this story not for you to feel sorry for me or not for you to think less of my parents even. They did what they had to do. But what I do want to talk to you about is how I bounced back from that. Being in a group home really sucks. People there they're not doing so hot in life, and that's okay. We worked together, we had long nights, we cried a lot. Resilient people, though, don't focus on what's happening to them right in that second. They don't focus on the emotion that they're feeling. I was angry, I was confused, I was hurt. But guys, I had to step back and I had to say, what am I learning? And that's really hard to do when you're 15, 16 years old, I get that. But what are you learning? When you're faced with crisis, and this could be as simple as you had a fight with your parents, or you did really bad on that math test, take a step back and say, what can I learn from this situation? For me, I didn't know this until years later, but when I went to college, I was already knowing how to manage my time because I had to do it on my own. I already knew that I had to schedule time in my day to study. I knew I had to schedule time in my day to work. And I wouldn't have known that unless I had spent time in that group home. I wouldn't have met some of the people that I had met. I wouldn't have learned that my story wasn't actually the hardest story I've heard. We have to focus on our strengths. For me, my strength was school, and I found strength through my teachers. They seriously helped me. They helped me learn that I was capable and I was worth it. So I spent my nights studying because that's what I could control. When you're going through those tough times and you're taking a step back to say, what can I learn? I also want you to take a step back and say, what can I control in this situation? If you're having massive anxiety because you have that math test coming up, you can't focus, your mind's racing 1,000,000 miles a minute, stop. What can you control? Can you control what that teacher's going to put on that test? No. After it, can you control what your grade is? No. So why are you worrying about it? What you can control is you studying. And that's what you could focus on. For me, I couldn't control that my parents didn't seem to care. I couldn't control that I was living in a room with 8 other girls. I couldn't control that my medications were off at the time and I was crying every 2 seconds. But what I could control were my grades. And that's what I did. I dug in deep and I studied. I knew that I didn't want to stay in my home after I graduated, so I got into college. I want you to focus on your happiness. For me, happiness was not in my home. I found my happiness through my friends. And they were great friends, because what do you do when you are 16 years old and you tell your best friend, my parents kicked me out of living in a group home and I'm on all these medications, I'm kind of crazy? Focus on the people that care. Focus on the people that are there for you, even after you said that really long sentence. Those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. Those are the people that are going to care about you when you're crying your eyes out or when you're laughing and crying your eyes out for laughing. Surround yourself with those who love you. And guess what? Just because you were on the soccer team with each other, or just because you sat next to each other in class, doesn't mean you have to be best friends. If that person isn't in it for you and for what is going to make you happy, why you got them around? I want you to realize that resilience is a process. Resilience is not something you're going to get overnight. It's something I still work on every day. I still struggle every day. I see a therapist once a week. I have medications that I take. I do EMDR therapy. That makes me zero less of a person. I am working on me. And you work on you in your own way. If you've had a tough time, you've had a tough life, guess what? You're going to make it through, I promise. I promise. Through the help of those around you that you surround yourself with, through those of us who care, your teachers, your counselors, your friends, your parents, we all want what's best for you. Before I go, I do want to focus on a little bit of therapy talk here. I want you to focus on problem-centric solutions. So let's go back to our math test. Our math test is anxiety, right? So our emotion is the anxiety. I want you to, instead of focusing on the emotion, to focus on the problem. Maybe it's not a math test. Maybe it's a talk you have to have with your parents. So instead of spending the whole day just running through your head, let's think about what we can control. Think about what your parents' best interests for you are. And know that it's going to be okay. Guys, if you have to ask your parents if you want to go to that party tonight, not tonight, it's Monday night. Not tonight, guys. Friday night, if you want to ask them, just ask them. The worst they can say is no. And you're still where you started. Okay? Guys, know that these teenage years are rough. They're rough for all of us. But guess what? Us adults, oh gosh, I'm an adult. We've been through some stuff. Some stuff that you may not realize unless you ask. And how we got through may not be the best way for you, but it's a way. We got through it and you will too. You will be resilient. You will grow up to be happy and healthy and have a great life. I promise you that. Focus on the positive. Focus on things you can control. And thank you for listening.